The House will now consider the matter of public importance. I call the member for Maitland.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Temporary Speaker. Today I rise with a heavy heart to join the commemoration of those who held candlelight vigils across our nation yesterday for National Domestic Violence Remembrance Day. National Domestic Violence Remembrance Day is a day to remember those who have died and the ones left behind due to domestic and family violence. The purpose of the candlelight vigils is to bring the community together and to recognise not just the ones who have lost their lives, but the ongoing impact on those in our community, and also to pay tribute to those services who work with those victims and survivors. This day is also a day of action. It calls on all of us to speak out against family violence and to encourage those experiencing violence to seek support. Family and domestic violence affects every single person in our community. I thank organisations such as Destroy the Joint who raise awareness in social media and other forums of the number of women, particularly, who lose their lives due to domestic violence in our community. But we need to remember, Mr. Temporary Speaker, that every death in our community due to domestic violence is one too many. While men and children are also victims of domestic violence and homicide, on average, every 3 weeks, one woman in New South Wales is killed by someone with whom they were in an intimate or domestic relationship. The percentage of all women killed is somewhere in the vicinity of 80% over the last few years. That's a shocking figure. Let me say it again. In just 1 year, around 20 women, just in New South Wales, just in this state, are killed by an intimate partner or someone with whom they live, and that these deaths constitute 80%, over 3/4 of the deaths by murder or homicide in our community. These women are important, every single one of them. They are mothers, they are sisters, they are children, siblings, grandmothers, colleagues and friends. They were loved by their families, their friends, their colleagues, their workmates, their customers, people who interacted with them in all of their capacities. They were women who contributed to our community, and they are now gone. It's been estimated that some 15% of women have experienced physical or sexual violence from an ex-partner, the most likely type of known perpetrator for a female victim. In the state of New South Wales, that equates to some 579,000 women, or well over 500,000 women in this state who have experienced physical or sexual violence from an ex-partner. Former UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon once said, "There is one universal truth applicable to all countries, cultures and communities. Violence against women and children is never acceptable, never excusable, never tolerable." And that is why it is so truly shocking that Australian women are most likely to experience physical and sexual violence in their home at the hands of a former or current male partner. Our homes should be the safest and most loving places for all of us to be. To be surrounded by a loving and supportive family member is something that all of us should expect to have as a fundamental basic right. It's not something that costs resources. It doesn't cost anything to have someone love you. It doesn't cost anything to have someone support you, and it shouldn't have cost something to have someone stop or not to hit you at all, or to perpetrate any other form of violence against you. On Wednesday this week, Moving Forward Domestic and Family Violence Case Management Services, as part of the National Domestic Violence Remembrance Day, held an event at Parliament House and invited all members of our community, including members of this place, to reflect, acknowledge and honour the women, children and men who have been killed by domestic violence. Just as we did last year, many members in this place joined our community and representatives of the services that help victims and survivors to place roses on the fence outside, red for women, white for children and yellow for men. It was a very sad rainbow of colour, because we lose too many people to this terrible crime. This commemorative day, which has been going on for some 20 years in parts of Australia, facilitates our grief, it pays respect. And Mr Temporary Speaker, I urge all members to continue to support these vigils in the future. Thank you.
Mr.
I'd like
Speaker.
to thank the member for Maitland. We're hearing the matter of